Some of the other places, there was Camp Belsenborn?
That was Camp Belsenborn was a rest, more or less, rest area. But one that was in the Hurricane Forest. And I laid back on, and I could see those buzz bombs come over, and they were kind of a bluish plastic, all plastic. I looked right up there and I could see them. Well, when we were in Camp Belsenborn, first thing we dug our foxhole and was up on the kind of a hillside outside of Camp Belsenborn, and one of them buzz bombs come over and it exploded not too far away, and it just picked you up in the foxhole and dropped you down because there was that explosion. So that night I was on guard duty, and one of them buzz bombs come over, and I heard that they go pop 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 pop, and all at once the motor quit, and one of them hit pretty close, and our squad leader came out and he said,
Dad, you were talking about one of the buzz bombs hit,
yeah,
and then what happened?
And our squad leader came out and he said, Crass, he says, I thought they got you. But I was still there yet. So that was a big surprise, and that was, well, just before the bulge. We were up in there. We went there more or less for a rest area, and we were training on different plans they had on evacuating in case of the emergency.
Now, you were assistant bazooka man at...
Huh?
At one time you were assistant bazooka man. When was that? When you were assistant bazooka man, when they assigned you.
Oh, assistant bazooka? Yeah, that was Overgeik. We were taking Overgeik, and we had the third tank outfit, and all the tanks were lined up on a hill looking down. Overgeik was down in the whole hollow, and we got up there as infantry, and geez, they were shelling the hell out of them tanks, and them tanks didn't move. So we stuck around a little while, and finally squad leader took off and said, let's go. We got out, we kept going on our own, went down, and every time you stand up real straight and didn't look around while you got a bullet. But we kept going down got pretty near to the bottom of the hill, and that was over across about a 40-acre. And we got there was a tank sitting there, and well, naturally being a bazooka man, assistant, and my buddy was firing. Well, he fired at the tank, and then after we got set up, you gotta hit the button to make that rocket come out of there. Well, when I told him okay, and I turned my head, because when that thing comes out of there, you have no idea what happens when that rocket comes out of that tube. And it hit that tank, and it splattered all over, and I was, both my legs and arms was just like on fire because of that rocket coming out of there, and there must have been a lot of garbage came out with it. And I think that's where I had it in my hand, but it was in such a goofy place that normally, and when you're in mud like that, like we were, I didn't notice that till later on. You get cleaned up, sure. That's why it wasn't reported to the medics, because I didn't go up there and show them. If I'd had my head blown off, well, that'd been different. But when you got a little scratch like that, and it proof that it was in there, and you take it to the government, and them x-rays and all the information you give them is just a bunch of junk. Because we tried many ways. If your name isn't on that medical list that you reported that, God only help you, you won't get nothing.
So you got shrapnel in your wrist?
Yeah.
What else did you discover?
Then
happened?
Later on, when we were in our area up around Eupen, and I took out my wallet, and I had German marks in there. I don't know if somebody was going to get something or what. I took my wallet out, and I says, when were you eating honey or jelly? Because all the bills were stuck together. Then I come closer to look. Well, naturally, when that shrapnel went through there, it went through them bills and kind of hinged it over like you'd staple them. And then when I looked in the wallet, and that last piece of metal was in the last part of the wallet right there. Never hit me in the skin. But I had that wallet, but after 30, 40, 50 years, where is it? It's lost. That time I wasn't looking for medals. That's why I got the back seat, because I wasn't looking for a medal. I was looking to get back home where I could really enjoy myself. Not up there and listening to all them shells going off and hiding every time you hear one.
So at some point, your friend got killed? The medic? Where was that?
That was crap. That was we went into a area just to punch in there to throw the Germans off. It was more or less, we were told when we go in there, they had the password. If they weren't going to continue and we were going to go back, there's empty muskets returning. Well, we got up there and a couple of guys got wounded. So they wanted us to keep pushing ahead, but after they gave that and said muskets return, I figured, why go up further? Go back. So we grabbed a litter, and I left all my equipment there, a gun and everything, right there where we had that litter, and we carried that guy. I never got his name. We carried him, and every time we'd run maybe about 500 feet, our artillery would open up. And that's when we'd move. The minute the Germans fired, we'd have to hit the ground. So we worked that all the way up to our unit. When we got there, our lieutenant came up to me and put his arm around me. He says, boy, he says, I'm glad you guys are back. So that was it on that one. After the bulge, or is that you were up to the bulge?
Wherever you want to talk about. What happened with the bulge?
After the bulge, we started out, I helped them worked their uniforms. We made a camouflage uniforms out of cook's uniform. We spent a day there, and then
And what color were the cook's uniforms?
white.
And why was white a camouflage?
Snow. We had 2 feet of snow there, and the next day it was terrible. You wouldn't even push a dog out. It was really cruddy. We started our attack. We went halfway there, and then we run into a dugout, and the German come out with his peapot, and he thought it was one of his buddies, and he got kind of friendly and all. Once he found out it was American, and we tried to get him to stop, he jumped back in that foxhole, or in that their hole they had there, and I don't know how many guys were there, and he wouldn't give up. So the sergeant, he threw a hand grenade in there, and that was it. And then we got one all the way up to the town. We only got one guy was wounded, that's all. Then from there we went back to our unit, and we went to WWII. And at WWII, we started out the same way, terrible weather, 2 feet of snow, went in. We didn't have any advance notice, for the Germans didn't have advance notice either. And we got into WWII, and I wish I would have had a camera to see all them Germans in their foxholes, all lined up along there. They didn't fire a shot. So we took the whole company. They didn't fire a shot. So that was our start of after the bulge. I know there's a lot of stuff in between that I missed, because you can't keep everything in your mind.
Well, where was it where you saw the German pilot?
Oh, that was a New Year's Day, when we were out to establish a fighting position. And it was right on the edge of the forest, and the trees were maybe about 30 feet high, something like that, 34, regular standard Norway or jack pine. And all at once I looked up, and come the plane to come over that, and they come within about 6 foot of the ground, and they flew across, and there was about 15 planes, I should judge, and they all flew that low, and one came over me, and before he came over, he dropped his extra fuel tank, and I thought it was a bomb. I kind of peeked up when it started going end over end. I knew it wasn't a bomb. And when that plane come over, I looked, I could see that pilot right there. And if I'd have been really thirsty to fire my rifle, I could have shot that plane down. But I was always leery of giving our position away, because I seen that happen. I seen that happen in Monchow. We were there too, and told, don't any lights come on, don't fire. My buddy, he fired, and boy, we got it. They really poured the lead up there. So that's one thing, you don't give away your position.
Did you kill any Germans? Did you kill any Germans?